Madime ka lapeng re la amela nano la rona le ratahang la mafumahadi eleng the ladies club mo na mo kanaleng ya bobedi mo motle nna lebitso la ka ke Lebo Motswedi.
And my name is Biokinetics. Happy Women's Month. Good to be in your company. And thank you for joining us for another episode of the Ladies Club as we bring you all the trailblazers and the game changers when it comes to women's sports in the country. Okay, so what are we doing today? Well, today we are chatting about women who are pushing the boundaries in adventure sports. And I can't wait to begin this conversation with our game changer who is sitting in studio. Remember, you're welcome to join in the conversation too across all social media platforms. It's so easy. Hashtag the Ladies Club. Our Twitter handle is @sport@SABC, @LeboMotswedi, @Biokinetics, and we're even on Facebook and on Instagram too. So we look forward to hearing from you.
But before we obviously continue with our game changer, it is important that we start the day with a very exciting quote like we always do. And today's quote is by designer extraordinaire Coco Chanel. It goes like this: keep your heels, head, and standards high. Her real name obviously is Chanel, and she is the founder of the House of Chanel, and she's a very talented and creative fashion designer who changed the world of fashion. I absolutely love her clothes though.
Coco's childhood was a humble one. After her mother died, she was sent to an orphanage where she stayed until she was 18 years old, and that's where she learned to embroider, iron, and sew. She then started a fashion business and later came out with her well-known perfume called Chanel No. 5. From there, her business skyrocketed to perfume, suits, dresses, skirts, turning out to be what it is today. And what I really love about her quote is saying that not only do you have to be ambitious, but look good while you're being ambitious too.
I know, you know what, I find that so difficult because I'm an all-star kind of girl. And I've never seen Valen in sneakers unless she's running. So you always look good.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Because she says, keep your heels, your head, and your standards high.
Well, I've got high heels on today, so thank you very much. Yes, so I live out Coco Chanel's quote and her mantra.
Just like our game changer, in fact, because every time I see her, she's in top-notch, looking great. But before we go to a quick break, which we're about to do now, let's just get you ready to whet your appetite with regards to the stories that are making headlines around women in sport, especially looking at South Africa's Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, Nathi Mthethwa, who has now thrown his entire weight behind women's sports, saying that there is a need to continue championing women's participation in sports.
Yeah, when making his budget speech this year, he said there was a need to continue lobbying for equity in sports, specifically with regards to women and their participation at various levels when it comes to sport. He added that the focus on women in sport should continue, stressing that this has to be an area that is regularly assessed and monitored, and that's something that's very important. We can have all the goodwill and all the good intentions, but we actually need action behind those intentions, and then to ensure that they continue to happen, we need to have that monitoring. So those are the right kind of sentiments that we're hearing from our Minister of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation. Let's hope that we see the fruits of that. I think it's time now for us to take a break. I can't wait. Our game changers are in the studio.
She's standing by. Should we say her name? Not yet.
No, let's keep them guessing. Okay,
all right.
We'll be back after this.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Ladies Club. And now we are joined by a very exciting guest in studio. It's Mzansi's multi-talented adventurer, Letshego Zulu, and she is our game changer today. Letshego is, of course, a Biokinetics businesswoman, adventurer, enthusiast, motivational speaker, and now a published author.
The avid runner and cyclist has conquered numerous racing events, including the Two Oceans Ultra Marathon, the Cycle Challenge, and the Ironman, as well as the Cape Epic. Letshego has encountered more than her fair share of danger, but that hasn't stopped her from reaching greater heights. Her husband and racing car driver, Gugu Zulu, died while summiting Mount Kilimanjaro in July 2016.
And she has since written a book where she shares what life has been like without her husband, Gugu. Let's get right into the conversation. She joins us in studio. Letshego, welcome to the Ladies Club.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies.
My goodness, the last time I chatted to you regarding sport, you were fully focused on biokineticism,
Yes.
or as you were a biokineticist.
Yes.
What happened from there, transitioning to this adventurer, lover of life, runner, cyclist, ultra marathon runner,
yeah.
to this?
I don't have any boundaries. So back then, when I was still practicing as a biokineticist, I practiced for 5 years. And after 5 years, I felt I wasn't reaching enough people because as a bio, you're pretty much treating one patient at a time, you know, and by the end of the day, you've only seen 8 to 10 people, depending on how long you choose to work for. And I felt I wasn't touching enough people, you know.
Sure.
And this was now a good 4 years ago. I then, you know, came together with another fitness mom, if I may call her that. I mean, she's also a multi-talented woman, Ketiwe Mlangeni, and we started PopUpGym. And, you know, PopUpGym is about showing people that you can train anywhere, anytime. But at least with that, you know, we are touching 300 people at a time, you know, sometimes, and in the corporate space as well as in the public.
Sure.
PopUpGym has had an amazing reception, and you did that when you were pregnant.
I was halfway through my pregnancy when we started PopUpGym. In actual fact, I remember with our first event, our first public event in Sandton, I was halfway through my pregnancy.
Wow.
And yeah, you know, that's just the passion, and sharing it with people and helping people get off their couches and start moving, because it's easy for you and I to go for a run, you know, but it's not for everyone. And it's about showing people that exercise can be fun and it can be enjoyable.
But where did the passion for sport come from? Take us back to your growing up days as a youngster as well.
It literally came from monkey see, monkey do. My mom was an active person. She was a marathon runner. She played netball. She did all sorts of sporting codes. And as a little 8-year-old at the time, I'd just sit there and just watch in awe.
Admiring this woman.
Yes. You know, I remember at the time we were living at Fort Hare University in the Eastern Cape, and she was a lecturer. And we, you know, where we were staying, we stayed across the road from the running track. And then, you know, there'd be times where she feels like going for a run, and she's not going to force me to come for a run with her, but she'd say, bring a toy or two, and I'd sit there on the grandstand, and my mom goes around in circles for a long time. And eventually one day I said, let me go see what this is all about. You know, she does this ever so often. Let me go try this out. And I literally did my first 5 kilometer at the age of 8. And
you loved it?
I loved it.
My word, 5Ks at 8. That's fantastic. Back in the day, that was the park run, you know?
Yeah, exactly. The park run has been around for years.
Yes, exactly. In all communities, all over South Africa.
Yeah.
So what would you say when it comes to sport has been your biggest achievements?
Sure, my biggest achievements in cycling, I would say the Absa Cape Epic. You know, that is the Tour de France of mountain biking. That event is brutal, you know, and I've managed to get 2 of them under my name. And in terms of running, I've completed Comrades, which is also a mental test of note from 60 kilometers onwards. So those are my 2 greatest achievements. And then not too long ago, I went off to Rio and I ran my first international marathon. Yes, it's not one of the top 10 that people go for. I'm one of those people that goes off the beaten path and create my own path.
But it's an international marathon.
Exactly. So yes.
And what led to the decision to run the international marathon? Because I know a lot of my circle of friends will say, now that we've done this and this and this, although not even the Comrades, let's try and do a 10 kilometer in Spain, a 21 kilometer in London or whatever.
Yeah.
What led to that decision?
So I love traveling. I've been traveling with my mom from as young as I was 8 years old. And I guess it's part of the reason why I'm so open-minded about life and the world. And that was actually it was our second international trip with my little one. She came along and she ran a kids race. She ran the 200 meter.
Oh, the nana.
So she's also got an international race under her belt.
Of course.
The Nappy Dash.
The Nappy Dash, exactly. And she did the Nappy Dash at Two Oceans when she was about a year and a half.
Wow.
And at the age, actually it was on her 4th birthday, she ran the 200 meter at the Rio de Janeiro Marathon. She did. She giggled the entire way.
Oh my God.
Sweet, man. It's like your whole life is just based around sports, because it was also after an Absa Cape epic that Gugu proposed.
Yes, our first Absa Cape epic in 2013. At the finish line, he proposed. And yeah, what an epic proposal.
It was, all pun intended.
Yes, exactly.
And thereafter, I'm pretty sure that here he is. You guys have been together for many a years, since the early 2000s. Comes the proposal, and you both are adventurous junkies.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, there's nothing that beats the feeling of crossing a finish line,
Sure.
you know, or completing a challenge. And it has been the common thread in my life right through my schooling career. I mean, I tried everything under the belt. At, you know, at school, I played squash, I played tennis, I did cross country, I did high jump, I did it all, you know. So just that curiosity is what's driven me, and it's that same adventure lifestyle that's got me to where I am today.
True. You say it's an adventure lifestyle. I wonder if it's not your brave spirit to take on challenges when nobody else really would. I mean, most people wouldn't open up a business when they are pregnant, halfway being pregnant, and leave their practice, which they know generates income, and they've got a set job, and then, you know, be able to overcome a massive amount of grief in the way that you have.
Yeah, I think sport has definitely been that one thing that has centered me to be the person that I am. Centered yet adventurous, you know, because I've tried everything under the sun, and you know, these sporting challenges are literally challenges, and when you overcome that, you know, we all hit walls, especially during the likes of Comrades. You get to 60 kilometers and you hit a wall, and it's all about how you pick yourself up, you know. So, you know, fast forward to the grief period in my life, you hit that wall, and at some point you sit and you're like, but how am I going to get over this wall? So sport has been one of the greatest blessings in my life.
A great teacher.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to getting insight as to how exactly Letshego was able to overcome so many obstacles in her life, especially the loss of her husband, and how she's incorporated sport in overcoming grief. And it's something that could be a learning lesson to many of us that seem to struggle with how to overcome, how to start again, how to be the person that you are without a loved one beside you. So looking forward to hearing her thoughts also just after the break, I guess.
Honestly. Welcome back. You're watching The Ladies Club. Thank you so much for staying with us. The focus is on adventure sports. We're chatting to our game changer, Letshego Zulu. We're going to be getting into the book that she recently published, I Choose to Live. But let's tell you about our trailblazer. Our trailblazer today is South African, South African-born adventure junkie Vanessa Lee Knight, popularly known as Ness Knight. Ness Knight is an explorer, a conservationist, and an ocean advocate who has completed a diverse collection of expeditions when it comes to extreme environments around the globe. And that sounds very much like our game changer.
Absolutely.
Any challenge, give it to Letshego. Letshego, if there was somebody that you would say like really inspired you, who would it be?
Gugu Zulu.
Oh, tell us more.
No, you know, Gugs was just, he was full of life. And I think when we met, I was still quite young. I was 16 years old, hadn't really explored life. And he was 6 years my senior. So he, you know, only naturally explored things, you know, ahead of me. And just watching him, I used to look up to him. You know, yes, we were dating, but I used to look up to him, and I would see this guy who was just full of life and just trying all sorts of things in life. And I guess I learned from him, learned from the best.
And I guess you guys were attracted to each other because you had a lot of that going on, a lot of that in common.
Absolutely. And, you know, when we started dating, he was a cyclist, I was a runner. And he roped me into his cycling world. I roped him into the running world, even though he hated it until the day he passed. But he would do it to support me, you know. At first, it started off as him picking me up from home at 4 o'clock in the morning. Because, you know, with running races that start that early, you know, and he would go, you know, go drop me off and wait for me to finish the race. And then eventually he was like, okay, let me try the 5K.
I might as well just come with you.
She's gone forever. You know, she's running a 42K and I'm sitting here for 4 hours or however long.
Yeah.
And, you know, just that openness to just support each other and try all sorts of things, you know.
Wow.
You only have this life once.
That's true.
And
Live
a
it.
lot of us sit there in fear. We create fears
Yeah.
about, oh my gosh, I don't want to cycle. What if I fall?
Yeah,
What if I
yeah,
break this
yeah.
and break that? Guys, I'm still here.
That's true.
I haven't hurt myself. I cycle with long nails. I don't break my nails.
Girl.
You know.
And you look like $1 million when
You
you
know.
don't have your cycling gear on.
Exactly. So yeah, just open yourself up to life. You know, tomorrow is not guaranteed to anyone. And that's one of the lessons that I share with in the book as well, to say, you only have this one life that's gifted to you. You know, make the best of it. Go out there, conquer.
You're talking about the book now, and before the break, I asked, what is it that you did to overcome grief that sport has taught you? Was this also one of the ways in letting it out and putting it down on paper, in overcoming and moving on?
So what the book has done for me is to share a part of my get up and go attitude, because for the past 2 years,
Yeah.
people have just watched me get up and continue living life. And I've been inundated with emails, with inboxes on social media of other men and women that have loved and lost, who have said, but
How do you do
how do
it?
you do it?
Yeah.
You know? And the secret to how I did it was literally learning from those who have gone before me. Many other people
True.
have loved and lost.
Yeah.
And I became part of, or maybe I created my own family, because none of the women who I connected with, who also loved and lost, even knew each other. But I just connected with a few of them, listened to their journeys. And, you know, there was one particular lady who also lost her husband on Kilimanjaro, Chelsea Dinsmore.
Sure.
She lost her husband 9 months before Gugu passed away. And, you know, she was literally like my soul sister. And, you know, her journey was 9 months ahead of me.
Yeah.
In terms of her journey to rebuilding.
Yeah.
And there was this one particular evening when I decided to go onto her Instagram page.
Yeah.
And when I landed on her page, all I saw was life. This lady was living life. I was seeing pictures at the beach. I was seeing, you know, she was
Yeah.
just out there. And I said, you know what? There's life to be lived.
In contrast to what society expects you to be doing.
Exactly. Society expects you to be in tears, to
Grieving,
be ashy
looking sad.
and looking
Yes,
sick.
yes.
And I just said, no.
No, that's not me.
Gugs was a guy who loved life. He would want me to be out there living life. Yes, his chapter in life came to an end, but mine still continues, and I choose to live.
Wow.
That is an incredibly bold thing to have to say, because there was a huge amount of pressure on you. You were in the center of public scrutiny.
Yeah.
You've got a young daughter, and then you've lost the one part of #the adventure couple.
Yeah.
I mean, you make it sound so easy now, but I can't imagine the how many nights you must have spent actually questioning your strength.
Sure, I'll tell you, those first 3 months, I couldn't sleep. I felt like the life was sucked out of me. I felt like I had no purpose. I didn't know if I was coming or going. I'd wake up in the morning and just not feel like getting out of bed. It was hard. It wasn't easy to get to where I am. Yes, it sounds easy now. It's 3 years down the line. And I've now gotten to a point where I say, you know what? He would want me to live, because that was him. That was, you know, those first 3 months, I'm sure he was looking down at me and thinking, she needs to get moving, you know?
Yeah.
So I count my blessings. I count myself lucky to have gotten to where I am, because I've come across a lot of other people that have loved and lost and have not been able to go past that barrier.
And where did that strength come from, Letshego?
Gosh, I think my internal strength, my resilience actually comes from my mom and my gran. You know, these are two women that have also gone through their various life challenges. And as a kid, you don't sit there thinking, ooh, you know, let me use that as a lesson, you know. But you look up to these women and you just watch how they face life, they face various challenges. And when it came to me having to face one of the biggest challenges in my life, it just almost all fell into place.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about the book, because it's not only a account of how you were able to bounce back and to continue living life, but it's also a dedication to your daughter, who's only 4 years old.
Yes. So the book is written in 3 parts. The first part is hard. It's sad. It's a roller coaster of emotions. You need your box of tissues, because that's where I share the full story of what happened on the mountain.
Sure.
The second part is, 12 lessons. I chose 12. There's so many things that I learned, but I just chose 12 lessons that have crafted me and gotten me to where I am today. Whether it's lessons that I learned from when I was a kid, looking up to my mom and my gran, or lessons that I learned from Gugs, and lessons thereafter, because grief is also a teacher. So that's the middle section. The last part is, going back to the mountain and why I choose to live. And then, of course, letters to my daughter. That's what you've just asked me now. The letters to my daughter, what I did in 2017 before going back on the mountain, I reached out to friends on social media. And I just asked everyone to write, a small little blurb or small little letter to my daughter, telling her about her dad, because
it's different perspectives.
Exactly,
also.
I'm but one person.
Yes.
I'll tell her how amazing her dad was, because he was amazing. But I actually wanted her to have a full picture of it. And
that's beautiful.
Initially, I was going to create a little coffee table book just for her with those letters, but I thought it fitting to slot them into this book, because I guess the book also gives great detail of the type of person her dad was.
Day to day, what keeps you motivated, inspired, and going?
You know what? I literally press the reset button every single day.
I love it.
I wake up every morning,
It's
whatever
new.
happened yesterday,
It's
whatever
gone.
sadness or whatever it is that happened
Yeah.
yesterday is behind us.
Yeah.
There's a new day
Yeah.
ahead of me. And
No one has lived it yet.
No one has lived
Yeah.
it. It's a
Yeah.
blank canvas.
Yeah.
So I wake up every day and I say, okay, so what are we going to do now?
Sure.
Literally. So I think it's the gift of life.
I agree.
Because grief has taught me to be grateful for life. Tomorrow is not guaranteed to anyone.
when traveling, the one thing I must take with me is...
My tackies.
For running, because
Yes.
you need to
Or
be
a gym
able
session
to...
in the
Yeah.
hotel.
I
My
agree.
tackies.
And if you could have dinner with 3 people, they can be past or they can still be alive, who would it be to have dinner with?
3 people plus yourself.
3 people plus myself. Gabrielle Union.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I've loved that woman for so many years. We all love Oprah. Gugu Zulu. Would be great to have him.
That's it?
That's your table.
That's your table?
That is my table, because I'm the 4th person.
Yes.
There you go.
What is next for you? What can the people look forward to from you?
I'm all about breaking boundaries, and my life has been surrounded around sport, health and fitness. I want to branch out in a completely different direction business-wise. So watch this space.
Really?
I'm working on it.
I'm so curious.
Yeah.
Completely out of sport.
Completely out of sport, a different business.
Beauty.
I'll keep you guessing.
Thank you so much. You've been so incredible, so inspirational. And I love the fact that every day is a reset button. I live on that. I love it. Every second is new. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, ladies.
Letshego, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Women's Month. And thank you for being our guest today.
Happy Women's Month.
Thank you.
That was our game changer today. Wow, wow, wow. I don't know, if you're not inspired, then I think you just need to go rewind, 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 and reset, 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 as our producer Prudy says. Until we meet again, remember that greatness is never, never given. It's always
earned. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.